Hi, everybody, and welcome to Simply Cards by Kathi. I'm Kathi and today I have lots to show you. I hope you're ready for some holiday crafting. I'm going to show you how to use a stamp set, BetterPress dies that match it, and also how to use them to hot foil. So lots to show you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm happy you found me. I hope you like what you see and hit that subscribe button. If you're with me live or you catch the replay, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend some time crafting with me. I'm anxious to be here, and I'm very excited to show you 3 different ways to use this stamp set and BetterPress plates. Hi, Linda. Thank you for joining. So I do have a lot to show you, so we're going to get right to it and flip this down. Thanks. Hi, Karen. Thanks for joining. So let's get started. Okay, I want to show you what we're using first. I am using the Festive Triangles, and these are from Altenew. Now, I've pulled the stamps out for you to see, and they come. What I like about Altenew is you get some ideas and even ideas for colors of how to go about and use your stamps. So we're going to be using these to make a card, and it's just going to be some simple stamping. I'm going to pair it up with the BetterPress plate, the press plates from Altenew, and they actually match the stamp set. But I'm going to show you how to use the BetterPress machine, and then press plates can be used to hot foil. You can't use the Glimmer plates or the foiling plates to stamp, but you can use the press plates to both stamp into the cardstock, and you can also use them for hot foiling. So we're going to use these for both. And then I'm pairing it up with Altenew's nesting triangles. The nesting triangles, these triangles right here will cut out the stamps images. They'll also cut out the press plate images. So we will make one card today. I really want to focus on showing you how to use these for the press plate and the Glimmer machine or hot foiling plate. And then I'm going to show you the finished cards. What we do with these, I will finish up after the live and post them tomorrow on my blog post for you with a tutorial. So let's get started. So I'm going to turn around here and grab my supplies to use with the stamps. Now, I really wanted to do non-traditional colors for this. So I picked, I'm using a combination. I have Gina K, Light Orchid, and Eggplant. I love Eggplant. And I have Altenew's Soft Lilac. I do not have all the inks I would like yet from Altenew, so I'm working on that. I'm also going to use a stamping tool with this, simply because I think you'll see why as we go along. It allows me to place my images where I want them. I'm big on double stamping to get a really good covered image, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to pull everything off. I want to use Merry Christmas for this one. And I'm going to set this right here. And even before we start, I'm going to show you one of the cards that I made. This was one I made that was non-traditional colors. I got this using a color cube, and I will show you what I mean. I wanted something in the lavenders or purples, so this was the color cube card I pulled, and then I matched my inks to it. So we're going to be using 3. I'm not using, or 4. I'm not using all of them. But that's where I got my colors from. So we're going to move this up just a little bit and put it where we want it. And then I'm going to lay down a couple of my triangles. So I'm going to put this one here in the center. And we're going to start with that. So I'm going to do this in a little bit of a pattern. So I'm going to take my soft lilac and I'm going to ink this up. And this is such a light color that you aren't able to see it on the stamp. I barely can see it on the stamp, but I want to give it some good coverage. I'm going to bring this back over and I'm turning it around so it's right side up for you. And I'm just going to give it a good press. Now, I don't worry about getting coverage the first time. Oops, sorry about that. Because I know I'm not going to. And I'll be very honest with you. It is harder to get good coverage, at least for me, on these solid stamps than when we move into some of the stamps that have images on them. Those seem to cover up a little bit easier. So let's restamp this. And again, going to give it a good press. Now I'm likely going to stamp this a 3rd time because I want it nice and solid. And oops, little piece of fuzz there. So I hope you had a good weekend. I've done a lot of holiday cards. Let me know in the comments if you started your cards yet, or if you even make your own holiday cards. So I've done a lot of crafting, and I've really was excited to share all of this with you today. All right, that looks pretty good, but I'm going to go one more time. And I'm going to show you how we can use some of these other stamps to add some more to this. Okay, let's bring that down, and this should do it. Okay, and that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe off my stamp here so that it's, and I'm using just water. I only use water on my photopolymer stamps. And then we're going to add a little bit to this. So I'm going to take this one off, and I want to add, I'm going to take this that looks like a real thin tree, and I'm going to place it right on here. Let's move this up so you can see it. I'm going to place this right on here and then turn this over and pick up that stamp. And it moved, so let's reposition, which sometimes happens. I want it right in the middle there as best I can. Let's put it here. Okay, and then gently pick it up. There we go. Now, the greeting and this feathered stamp, I'm going to ink up with the eggplant. And add a little bit of color inside that light lavender tree. Okay, I'm going to bring it back down and give it a good press. Now, I don't press hard when I'm using my Chucky tool, or even when I'm using a stamping. And look how pretty that is. Now, I want the letters a little bit crisper. So I'm going to ink this up here again. And we're going to come back in. But I don't press really hard on these because the photopolymer, if you press down too hard, you distort the image or the greeting. And hopefully you can see that there. Now I'm going to take those off and I'm just going to wipe them down with my wet cloth. And we're going to peel those off and I'm going to put them right back on here for later. And we're going to go on and we're going to pick a couple other stamps here. So I'm going to go ahead with this one. Oh, let's put this one here. And I'm going to go up just a little bit higher. I want that to be just a little bit off. And let's add one here. Okay, and I'm going to come in and we're going to ink these up with Gina K ink that's light orchid. So I'm going to tap, 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 and make sure I wipe that off. And let's ink these up to the side. Okay, and I'm going to ink these one more. And because this is a darker ink than what I used for that center tree, this should ink up with just two passes of the ink pad. So let's see if I'm right. Oh, Linda, you've got 3 birthdays this week. That does take precedence. Absolutely. Hi, thank you for joining. Okay, here's our trees. Now, I'm going to stop at these and we're going to die cut this out. So let's do that. And I'm going to close this up. I'll take those off later. And I thought I would use a, let's see here. I'm going to pull out one of my A2 piercing layers. And let's see if this is the one I want. Not quite. Let's go to this one. And I'll show you exactly what I'm using here. I'm going to go ahead and let's cut that a little bit bigger. Let's go with this one. That looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of tape to this. I'm using a low tack tape. It's the mint tape from scrapbook.com. And I like it because it doesn't rip my paper, especially when I run this through my die cutting machine. Now I'm going to run over right behind you here and die cut this. And you'll hear it because it's electric. So I apologize for the noise, but I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just peel this off a little bit here. Even though it's a low tack tape, I'm pretty careful when peeling it off, just because I'm a fussy and don't want anything off on my paper. So here's this. Let's go ahead and move this over. Let's see if this is so. I took a piece of the eggplant cardstock for my base, and then I couldn't decide if I wanted to mount it on that light medium orchid color or an orchid color, or if I wanted to mount it on a lavender. But I think I'm going to go with that medium orchid. So let's go ahead and we're going to adhere this, and you'll be able to see what the card looks like. I have another one to show you that used a little bit more of the stamps than this one, but because I have so much I want to cover with you today, I didn't want to spend the entire time. And I know those of you that are with me, you aren't used to me doing an hour long, and I'm not used to doing an hour long. I truly do value your time and appreciate that you're here with me, or that you go back and watch the replay. And I don't want to not be mindful of your time. So let's go ahead and add this. And I'm using glue because for me, that allows me to slide and reposition a little bit easier than if I use a double-sided tape or a tape runner. And let's slide that just a little bit over to my left. And that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and press that down. Now you could add some glue to that. And what I used is these are my go-tos. I use waffle flower, the A2 piercing dies, because I like the frame, how they frame. So that's what I'm using for my layers. So we can add some gems to that. But I wanted to show you the other card. This was the first one I showed you, which was a non-traditional. And here's one where I did more trees and added them, same color palette, but just added a couple more trees to it. So on the inside, I just stamped another tree and added a greeting. So that's the stamp set. The other nice thing about this stamp set is it has the letters for peace, and you just have to restamp the E a second time. There are tons of greetings on here, wishing you joy this holiday season, warmest wishes, happy holidays. We did the Merry Christmas from our family to yours. So lots of options. So that's the stamp set using the Festive Triangles. Now let's go to the press plate. So what's different about stamps versus a press plate? Well, your press plate comes with these two plates. It comes, this is the pad, and it's gridded, so it's easy to place things on. It has an A2 size, both on the grid for the where you place your BetterPress plates, and also on the top. Now, if you've not used press plates before, the top is where your paper goes. And we're going to go ahead and we are going to tack that down with some low tack tape. I'm going to put that right here. Now I'm using cotton paper that comes with the press plate, or that I purchased. You can use regular cardstock. I've used regular cardstock a lot, and it presses fine. There are also ink for press plates. I use my regular inks. I don't buy any special inks. This pad is what we're gonna put our press plates on, and it also comes with a shim. I leave my shim in, and I cover this with like the plastic that covers your cardstock, or that might cover your stamps when they come. And I simply wrap it around that to keep it clean and put some tape on it. So I've pulled 3 press plates here, and I had them upside down. And I know I'm using an A2 card. Okay, so with that A2 card, I know right where I can put my trees. And I want to stagger them so that one is in the middle and a little lower than the other two. Because you have the grids on this plate, it's really easy to line them up. So I thought it would be fun to do a card, and we're going to use like some emerald colors for the trees. So I'm going to go with Altenew's Emerald, Lagoon, and Volcano Lake. Now I have to admit I have another card to show you. I've not done this yet, so I'm not going to, I don't know how these 3 colors will turn out, but I'm hoping they're going to turn out okay. I do like the small ink cubes for this because I'm a pretty messy stamper, to be quite honest. And the big ones, while they work really well, whoops, like I just said, I'm a messy stamper. And I try not to get as much on here as I can. So let me grab this and wipe it off before I transfer it to my paper. I'm also going to come in with just my little, with a finger, and I'm just going to wipe this off here. All right. I also want the greetings to be dark. So I'm going to go ahead and do those. Now, what does the press plate do differently that stamps don't do? It actually is like the old newspapers. They actually stamp and press the ink into the paper so that there's I guess an indentation. Your image is recessed so that I'm trying to get this covered well. Your image is recessed so that it really looks like it's pressed down into your paper. So let's do that. And I'm going to wipe this off a little bit. And then I'm going to come in with this lighter one and do this here. Now, what do you do to press it in? You're going to use your whatever you use for cutting and embossing. So whether you have the platinum or you have Gina K's, which is whose I'll be using, whichever one you have is the one you'll use. Let me put the lids back on these colors and hope I get them on the right ones. There we go. And then you take your top plate with your paper on it. You're going to, it has a magnet here and you can see it goes up and down. You're going to put that right in there. And while I'm here, I'm going to plug in the Glimmer machine. And I'm going to bring my embossing machine in. And mine sets to letterpress. This is a Gina K. And I'm going to slide it in here. And all you do is run it through. Now I can tell that's not tight enough, so I'm gonna back it out and tighten mine up. And now we should be good. Now we're good to go. So I'm just gonna run this through, and I'm gonna go back through a second time. You do not have to do that, that's just me. I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay. Still have a little trouble picking that up since surgery. And I'm going to turn this over and look at the images that you have there. Now this one I have a little bit missing, so it's easy for me to go back over it because these have not moved. It's magnetic and the paper hasn't moved. So let me make sure I have the right color here. I want to and just show you how you can go back over that. Yep. And this one with the little bars is the one that we need to cover up a little bit more. So I'm just going to come back in, re-ink. Okay. And if I put this, lay this right back over the top, I can run it through another time. So let's do that again. And just go through. This locks into place, which is why I have to fold it up to get it off the glass top. And then let's just take this off and look at the great image that you have. And if you were here, you could see they're pressed into the paper. So that's using the press plates for inking. Now let me cover this second ink up and take this off, and I'm going to hold it up a little bit higher for you to see. Now here's one that I did using the press plate that's finished, but I did it in reds. And hopefully you can see that. I wish you could see the detail and the crispness of those images, but they are pressed into that paper. So this one I will finish up and post that card on my blog tomorrow. Now I wanted to show you how to use those press plates to foil. So I'm going to bring in the Glimmer machine. This is by Spellbinders, and it's comes with everything you need to get started. There's a switch here that turns it on and off. You'll see it powers up, and I'll do a video in the future that details this. But this little light here will go on when it's ready. And while that's heating up, I'm going to go ahead and put some press plates on that we're going to foil. So I'm going to go with, we're going to do another portrait card. And this is also gridded in, what do I want to tell you? It's gridded in 1/2 inches. So this is a 6-inch plate. And my paper is a little bit larger because I'll cut it down. And I'm going to put this right here. And this does get hot, so you do want to be careful. You can see it's already lit up, that it's ready. I'm going to put this one here, kind of doing them all about the same, just to kind of show you what these all can do. And I want to make sure those are straight. Okay, so there's our 3 plates that we've used. Now let's add a sentiment. I'm going to use Season's Greetings. Let's do that. And I'm going to center it right under, make sure I have it correct. Yep. Center it right under my tree. All right. Now this says it's ready. So we're ready to put the foil and our paper on. When you're using a hot foiling, the Glimmer machine, you can only use foil, and there's lots of different foiling machines out there, but for the Glimmer, you have to use foil that is actually for the Glimmer machine. I'm going to cut a piece that's only about the size, we're using gold, about the size of the trees. This is thin, so I find that if I use a sharp, like trimming scissors, it cuts much easier for me. Okay. I'm going to lay this on over the trees, and I'm going to trim it just a little bit. Right. So let's lay this on here. I want to make sure it's all covered, and I want to make sure I didn't move my trees, which I did. All right. You want the shiny side, the fancy side down, and the back is what is facing you. I'm then going to put my piece of paper on here. And hit my timer button. When that stops flashing, it will be ready for us to run through an embossing machine. So I'm going to bring my embossing machine back over and try to move the Glimmer over a little bit. Making sure that I've got that pretty straight. So let's open this up, hopefully where you can see it. And when that timer stops flashing, we know we're ready to run this through. Now there's 2 plates that go over this. It's stopped, so I'm going to gently release this from the machine. I'm going to use the Glimmer plate. I'm also going to use the shim. And I'm going to hold it and put it right into my embossing machine and going to run it through. You want to go slowly when running this through so that that foil can adhere to the paper. All right, and let's take it out. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to connect this back in just so that because it's hot. I'm going to pick up my paper and I'm going to shut my machine off. Now there is a hot pad to use with this, and it comes with a magnet that will pick those up so that you can put them on the silicone mat and let them cool. And now we're ready for the reveal. And I hope we got a good, I was off. We did not. We can try that again if you want to. Let's try it again and make sure it's heated up enough. These cool down pretty quickly. And I'm going to move this over. I also have a finished card. One of the things I have found is with my Glimmer machine, which I love, is that sometimes it takes to the second time, or like letting it heat up a little longer, to get a little bit better coverage. So let's try. I'm going to try the back side. Let's go this way because I can trim it down. Move it over just a little bit. And we're just going to use the back side because there's two sides to the paper, and I can easily flip it over when I make the card. Now, the one thing when using this is you have to have enough pressure on your machine, your embossing machine. And this says it's ready, so I'm going to go ahead and cover that and hit my timer button. We're going to use this side. And I'm hoping I placed that better. Let that flash. And I'm going to open this up. We're going to try this again. And then I'll show you the third card. So always a learning curve, even though I've done this for a while. Sometimes you just may not have this tight enough. You may have to add an extra piece of cardstock in between for a shim. I have the ability on my embossing machine to tighten the knob up, and that's ready. So I'm going to go ahead, put this down and this down. I'm going to hold that down, and we're going to run this through again. And I feel like I shifted the metal, the press plates, but we'll see. The other thing is you need to use a heavy cardstock for this. Either Spellbinders or Altenew, I find works really well. What you need is, in particular, is a smooth cardstock. And those are the two that I tend to use the most. So let's bring this back. I'm going to take this off. And let's see what happens. Still not getting a good coverage, with that solid plate. And it may be that that plate needed cleaned after inking. So let me show you the card because it does foil very nicely. This is the second card, or the card for this one. And you can see very solid designs and foiling. I did use the die after inking and probably should have cleaned that solid one better to make sure the ink was off. But that is what it would look like when done. Let me bring the cards back in for you to see, and I've got lots of them here. So here's this one for that. I'll finish this up tonight. The other two are here. We have this one that we made. This is one that I showed you. And then we have the other purple one here as well, under something, right here. So lots you can do. So let me bring you back to me. I'm sorry about that foiling. I'm very confident that it's because I did not clean that press plate after stamping. But you can see from the looks of this how well that does foil. But different ways you can use the stamps and the press plates even together. Now on this one, I used those triangles that I showed you to cut these all out, and then just popped them up with some foam. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. It helps grow the channel. I appreciate you being here with me. There's a good chance I'll pop back on one evening, end of the week or the weekend, because I have lots of new stuff to show you. I hope you have a safe rest of your week. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.